Imagine the highest battlefield on Earth, where the air is thin, the cold is deadly, and every breath feels like a struggle. Here the landscape itself is a formidable enemy. Icy winds whip across jagged peaks, and avalanches can strike without warning. Survival is a daily challenge, even before a single shot is fired. In this unforgiving environment, India and China face off in a conflict that is both ancient in its roots and modern in its implications. The border they contest is not just a line on a map, but a symbol of national pride and unresolved history. High-tech drones and satellites constantly scan the mountains from above, relaying real-time intelligence to command centers far away. Yet, on the ground, the reality is starkly different. Soldiers engage in brutal combat with fists, stones, and clubs. No guns allowed, no shots fired. An old agreement, forged decades ago to prevent escalation, bans the use of firearms and explosives. As a result, clashes are raw, hand-to-hand, and eerily silent, echoes of medieval warfare in the 21st century. This is a modern standoff shaped by old rules, where every move is unpredictable, and the stakes are dangerously high. The tension is palpable, and the outcome is never certain. Soldiers endure extreme conditions, patrolling treacherous ridges and valleys, braving blizzards and sub-zero temperatures. Every step is a test of endurance, and every patrol could turn into a confrontation at any moment. The psychological toll is immense. Isolation, uncertainty, and the constant threat of violence weigh heavily on every soldier. The line between friend and foe is as blurred as the border itself, and trust is a rare commodity. This is the front line of a major geopolitical rivalry, watched by the world with unease. Every incident here is scrutinized by global powers, and the stakes extend far beyond these frozen peaks. India and China are nuclear-armed giants, their economies deeply intertwined with the global supply chain. What happens here can ripple across continents, affecting markets and security worldwide. A single miscalculation, a moment of panic, could set off a chain reaction with global consequences. The world holds its breath, hoping that cooler heads will prevail. The medieval weapons may seem outdated, but the stakes are thoroughly modern. In this strange collision of eras, the tools of war are primitive, but the risks are as advanced as they come. This is the paradox of the Himalayas, a conflict fought with sticks and stones that could trigger a global crisis. The world watches, aware that the smallest spark could ignite something far bigger. The world's two most populous nations are locked in a contest of endurance and will, each determined not to back down, each testing the other's resolve with every passing day. Every patrol, every skirmish is a test of resolve, a reminder that peace here is fragile, and the cost of failure could be immense. The silence of this war is deceptive. Beneath it lies the potential for catastrophe. Tensions simmer just below the surface, threatening to erupt at any moment. In the Himalayas, the past and future of warfare collide, creating a conflict unlike any other, where ancient grudges and modern ambitions meet on the roof of the world. The conflict centers on a border that was never clearly defined, a line drawn on maps but never agreed upon on the ground. This uncertainty is a legacy of colonial history and ambiguous treaties, where foreign powers made decisions with little regard for the realities of the land or the people living there. India and China inherited this problem at independence, and for over 70 years the dispute has simmered, sometimes flaring into violence, but never truly resolved. These barren rocks and glaciers, seemingly inhospitable and remote, have become powerful symbols of national pride, sovereignty, and strategic advantage for both countries. For India, the Himalayas are not just a natural barrier. They are sacred, woven into the nation's identity, and vital for water, culture, and security. For China, the Tibetan Plateau is a strategic fortress, a shield for its heartland, and a platform for projecting power across Asia. Every new outpost, road, or airstrip is a statement of control, turning even the smallest ridge or valley into a potential flashpoint for confrontation. Controlling the high ground offers not just military leverage, but also oversight of key trade routes, water sources, and the ability to monitor the other side's movements. In the nuclear age, this dispute is a global concern. Neither side can risk all-out war, because the consequences would be catastrophic, not just for them, but for the world. Instead, both countries operate in a gray zone, constant tension, military buildups, and standoffs, but no open conflict, always stopping just short of war. The silent and lethal combat, pushing, posturing, and psychological games is a way to test resolve, send signals, and assert claims without crossing the nuclear threshold. The stakes are not just about the land itself, but about security, influence, and power in Asia's future. The rocks and ice of the Himalayas are the stage for a high-stakes game between two nuclear powers, where every action is watched and every move matters. Every move is calculated, every clash a message, and every inch of ground a potential trigger for something bigger. The world watches, holding its breath, hoping that this dangerous game in the mountains never turns deadly. For centuries, Tibet was more than just a high-altitude land between India and China. It was a crucial buffer, a living wall of mountains, culture, and politics that kept the two Asian giants apart. Its unique position and distinct identity meant that neither India nor China could easily project power across the Himalayas, and for generations, this fragile balance helped maintain peace in the region. The Tibetan Plateau, with its formidable terrain and spiritual aura, acted as a natural barrier, keeping the ambitions of both nations in check. But everything changed in 1950 when China's military swept into Tibet and took control, erasing the buffer overnight and redrawing the map of Asia in a single stroke. Suddenly, Indian and Chinese soldiers found themselves staring each other down across the world's highest mountains, with no neutral ground left between them. India, caught off guard by the speed and scale of China's move, saw its strategic security vanish almost overnight, leaving policymakers scrambling to respond. The 1959 Tibetan uprising, followed by the Dalai Lama's dramatic escape to India, only deepened the mistrust and suspicion between the two countries, turning a strategic setback into a political crisis. China viewed India's decision to grant asylum to the Dalai Lama as a direct challenge to its authority and a provocation that could not be ignored, while India saw the loss of Tibet as a strategic disaster, a domino that threatened to topple its own security and influence in the region. With control over the Tibetan Plateau, China gained not just territory, but also the headwaters of Asia's great rivers, and a commanding military position over all of South Asia. The border disputes and tensions that dominate headlines today are a direct result of Tibet's fate and the erasure of that ancient buffer. The Dalai Lama's continued presence in India remains a constant source of friction, symbolizing unresolved grievances and competing visions for the region's future. For China, Tibet is a matter of sovereignty and national pride, a non-negotiable part of its territorial integrity. For India, Tibet is both a source of diplomatic leverage and a moral cause, a symbol of its commitment to asylum and human rights. The ghost of an independent Tibet haunts every negotiation, every skirmish, and every attempt at peace between India and China. The loss of the buffer created a permanent fault line, an open wound that shapes the geopolitics of the Himalayas to this day. The ongoing conflict in the Himalayas, with its periodic clashes and tense standoffs, is rooted in this history of lost buffers and broken trust. Even today, the shadow of Tibet looms over every move on the border, a silent reminder of what was lost and what remains unresolved. The new great game is fought with roads, tunnels, and airfields. For years, India kept its border underdeveloped, hoping poor roads would slow a Chinese advance, but it also slowed its own troops. China, meanwhile, built highways, railways, and airfields across Tibet, gaining a decisive logistical edge. India responded with a construction boom, all-weather roads, tunnels, and strategic airfields. Every new project is a statement of intent and a potential flashpoint. The infrastructure race is about more than convenience. It's about military readiness and national security. Construction crews work within sight of each other, turning building sites into standoffs. The border is hardening, making de-escalation harder. Concrete and steel now define the front lines of this rivalry. The rivalry stretches from the mountains to the Indian Ocean, the world's busiest energy and trade corridor. China depends on these sea lanes for its economic survival, but they are also its greatest vulnerability. India's geography gives it an advantage, sitting astride key choke points like the Strait of Malacca. China is building a blue water navy and overseas bases to secure its lifelines. India is modernizing its navy and forging partnerships with the US, Japan, and Australia. The contest is now about controlling both land and sea. A crisis on the border could spill into the ocean, threatening global trade. The stakes are global, the chessboard vast. Every move in the mountains echoes across the seas. China's String of Pearls strategy is a network of ports and bases from Myanmar to Pakistan. Officially commercial, these projects could serve military purposes, giving China access across the Indian Ocean. Gwadar in Pakistan and Hambantota in Sri Lanka are key links, raising alarms in India. China's loans and infrastructure projects buy influence, tightening a chain around India's sphere. For India, this encirclement is a strategic nightmare, driving its own military modernization. India's answer is the necklace of diamonds, a web of partnerships and strategic bases. India deepens ties with Vietnam, Japan and others, building a coalition to balance China. Access to ports like Duqm in Oman and Sabang in Indonesia gives India reach into key choke points. The Andaman and Nicobar Islands are a major asset, dominating the Malacca Strait. India's strategy is defensive, protect its interests, uphold a rules-based order, and avoid direct confrontation. It's a diplomatic and military dance to maintain balance in the Indo-Pacific. The rivalry is shaped by global alliances and economic ties. China leans on Pakistan and the Belt and Road Initiative to build influence. India practices multi-alignment, balancing ties with Russia, the US, and the Quad. India values autonomy, cooperating with all sides while avoiding formal alliances. Economic interdependence complicates the rivalry. China is one of India's largest trading partners. Decoupling is unthinkable, so both sides manage tension through diplomacy and economic caution. India is reducing dependence on Chinese supply chains, especially in critical sectors. The conflict is managed through a constant process of competition and cooperation. As of January 2026, the standoff continues in a tense equilibrium. The core issues, undefined borders, mistrust and strategic rivalry, remain unsolved. Both sides have adapted to a permanent state of managed competition. Infrastructure buildup and naval rivalry will intensify. Occasional border flare-ups are likely, with the risk of escalation always present. This is the defining contest of the 21st century, shaping Asia's future and global order. The world watches, hoping for cold peace rather than open war. The conflict is now a permanent feature of the geopolitical landscape. The challenge is to keep this silent war from turning catastrophic. In the Himalayas, the stakes are nothing less than the future of global stability.